Okay, so let's keep going. So we're going to look at this triangle. And again, I want to look at, there's this angle of 50. This is the hypotenuse. It's the longest side. It's the side opposite the right angle. This is opposite my angle. This is the one touching it that's not the hypotenuse. So which ones matter to me? This one here, because it's got 75, and this one here because it has an X. So I'm looking for the one that has the opposite and the adjacent. We should also probably write SOHCAHTOA at the top of this side. So I'm looking for opposite and adjacent, so that would be my tan ratio. So I'm going to write tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So I'm going to write tan of 50, opposite is 75, and adjacent will be X. Again, I'm going to cross multiply. But again, in this instance, X is on the bottom. So I want X on the left, and it's going to multiply with tan 50. There's a 1 here, so I'm going to do 1 times 75, which is 75. I want X to be by itself. So really right now, this is X times tan 50, so I want to get rid of this tan 50, so I'm going to divide both sides by tan 50. So this will cancel out with this, leaving me with X. And now I can do 75 divided by tan 50. So I'm going to grab my calculator. And I'm going to do 75 divided by tan bracket 50, close bracket. That's the other way to do it. Your calculator will also do it this way and not putting in the extra bracket. And I get 62.93. And I'm going to add in centimeters. If your calculator is a bit different, you might have to do 75 divided by 50 tan equals. Okay, let's look at letter D. So here's my 65. There's my hypotenuse. This is opposite. This is adjacent. So I need to figure out which ones matter. This has a number on it, and this has the value of X. So I'm looking for one that has adjacent and hypotenuse. The opposite doesn't matter to me because there's no value there. So I'm looking for adjacent and hypotenuse. So that would be my cosine ratio. So I'm going to do cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of 65, adjacent is 4.5, and the hypotenuse is X. So I'm going to cross multiply again because I'm looking for a side length. So this is X, and it's going to be multiplied by cos 65. And there's a 1 here that's going to multiply by 4.5. X is not by itself like it was the day before, so I need to get rid of cos 65. So I'm going to divide both sides by cos 65. This one will cancel with this one. So X is equal to 4.5 divided by cos 65. So I'm going to do 4.5 divided by cos bracket 65 close bracket equals. And I get 10.65 if I round it. And that's meters. Okay, let's look at the last two. So we have E. So here's my angle. This is my hypotenuse. This is my opposite. And this is my adjacent. So let's look at the ones that matter. So my opposite does, it's got a 75. And this one is the value I'm looking for, which is x. So I'm going to do tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent, because I have opposite and adjacent. That's the ratio I want. So tan of 35, opposite is 75, adjacent is x. So I want to cross multiply. So x is going to come up and multiply with tan 35. And 1 is going to multiply with 75. We're going to divide both sides by tan 35. Again, this one will cancel with this one. We're left with x. And I can put this into my calculator. I'm going to do 75 divided by, and then I have tan bracket 35 close bracket. And I'm going to hit equals. And I get 107.11 centimeters. If you have a different calculator, it's likely that you're going to have to do 75 divided by 35 tan. Last one. So we have 58. There's my right angle. This is the longest side. That's the hypotenuse. This side is opposite. This side is adjacent. It's the one touching it. So the hypotenuse is important to me, and so is the opposite. So in SOHCAHTOA, that means I want to use the sine. So that means sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine 58, opposite is 4.5, hypotenuse is x. So again, I cross multiply. I have x sine 58 is equal to 4.5. I want to isolate x, so I'm going to divide both sides by sine 58. This will cancel with this. And I can put 4.5 divided by sine 58 into my calculator. So 4.5 divided by sine bracket 58 close bracket. And I get 5.31 approximately.